Hey everyone, welcome to the Super Review Show's mixed bag, coming to you live once again from the J Cave. I am joined, and always will be, by my good man, Bill Murphy.
What's going on, folks?
Oh, Bill, we didn't do this for our first episode, but just a reminder, everyone, we the best podcast.
We the best podcast.
Sorry, that's the wrong decade, Bill. That's from the 2010s. But tonight's topic, Bill.
I got a quick funny story about the We the Best music. Like literally, when I was away a few weeks ago, and you were doing the show with Justin and Allie, I was in the casino, and like the moment the show started, I hear the music on in the casino, and guess what I hear? We the best music. I'm like, coincidence?
No way.
I think not.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about the 2010s. We're here to talk about one of the best decades of music, aren't we, JT?
We're here tonight to talk about the 80s.
Woo! It's 80s night, baby. It is 80s night. So get your white gloves on, get ready to moonwalk, get ready to rock on. It's the 80s, baby.
Looks like we have some careless whispers out there too. Oh, but
we do have some. Yeah, we gotta wake them up before we go.
Absolutely, my guy. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Because last Christmas we gave them their
tonight.
heart.
So yes, as the title,
as we continue this series of music through the decades. 2 weeks ago we did the 60s. Last week we did the 70s. Tonight, we're doing the 80s.
Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely, everyone. We're here to talk tonight about strictly the 80s, all the different bands, all the different artists in general. We're going to break down so fair warning, we're going to break down as many of the big ones as we can, and whatever else we think of, we're going to jump in there as well. So, but yeah, let's get to it, shall we? So, Bill, why don't we start with a band that made it super big in 1981 with their super duper mega hit, Don't Stop Believing. And what are we talking about, Bill? We're talking about the band.
Talking about one of my favorite Journey. Bands. We are talking about Journey.
I am.
Okay. There we go.
No pressure.
Okay, so Journey.
Oh, yeah.
The song that everybody knows. Whether you want to admit it or not, everyone knows that song.
Yes, whether you like it or not, that song is everywhere.
It is one of the most recognizable openings in music history.
Of course.
As soon as you hear that, you know what it is.
Oh yes, Bill. Oh yes.
Or every pop song ever written, because like all pop songs basically use those same four chords.
Oh, everyone's been using the same chords since the 60s, so it's been ridiculous.
So anyway, Steve Perry, remember last week when I said Freddie Mercury is the greatest vocalist in rock history? Remember when I said that last week?
I do, because last week we talked about the 70s and we talked about Queen.
Yeah. And first of all, Dr. Matt Hemsley said that was a very bold statement. But you know what? I'll say if Freddie Mercury is number one, I would say Steve Perry is a very close number two. I would say Steve Perry is a very close number two. What do you think?
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. No doubt about it.
The dude's got range. He's really got some range.
He does. He really does.
He really does. JT, are we going to do this any way you want it?
Is that the way we need it?
Any way you want it. She loves to laugh. Check out our Journey cover album, hitting stores this Christmas. What a lovely gift for all your friends and loved ones. No, it don't.
Damn right.
Christmas gift.
We could try, but I don't think it'd work.
It might. So anyway, I absolutely love Journey. And they are the inventor of the power ballads. They really are.
Yep, 100%.
Power ballads, I think, existed before Journey, but they were the ones that perfected them.
Yes.
They were the ones that absolutely perfected them. Like,
Yep.
like Open Arms,
Even Faithfully.
Faithfully. Yeah, Daniel Zuckerman, if you're watching that, we're sorry. If you're watching, we're sorry. Nah, he hates that. Daniel Zuckerman hates Faithfully.
How do you hate Faithfully?
Oh no, you have to ask him. Go ask him. I'm sure he can give you a very concrete answer. But anyway, yeah,
it's overplayed on the adult contemporary charts. Whatever, you know. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but Faithfully, Open Arms, they're the ones that I think there were power ballads before Journey, but I think Journey perfected the power ballad.
I think so too, but
I think they absolutely perfected it. Like, because when you hear lying beside you here in the dark, you want to just like throw up your phone and just do this.
the lighter.
Yeah, because we don't do lighters anymore. We do phones.
Yeah.
But you know what? We should bring the lighters back. Am I right?
At the next Journey concert, they should bring out lighters instead of phones.
Yeah, like no, when you hear lying beside you, and then you get the
sway.
The sway, the famous sway. Because, or with, sorry, Zuckerman, Faithfully, same thing.
Yep.
You get the lighters out.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just Steve, again, because Steve Perry just has that voice that just makes you feel things. And
he does.
He really does. He just has that voice. And also we got to talk about the other members of the band. Neil Schon.
Yep, Neil Schon, great guy.
Jonathan Cain.
Oh, yes.
And who's the other guy?
Ross Valerie. Steve Smith and Ross Valerie are no longer in the band, but they were original founding members. So,
yeah, I think there was a singer before Steve Perry, though. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There was. I forget his name, but he was okay. He was on their first three albums, and then the first three albums, and then they made Infinity with Steve Perry. So,
oh, I bet that guy who left Journey is now kicking himself.
He wasn't that good, though. Like vocally speaking, he was not that good.
Did he voluntarily leave, or did the band fire him?
I think he left, as far as I know. I'm not sure, but I think he just left. So,
you know what? I have to ask you, what do you think about their current lead singer, Arnel Pineda?
I think Arnel does a really good job, Bill.
Here's the thing. A lot of people say that he sounds just like Steve Perry.
Yeah.
I can hear it, but here's what I think. Because somebody told me, goes, if you close your eyes and play them back to back, you would think Arnel Pineda is Steve Perry.
Right.
But in all honesty, I could tell a little bit of a difference. I think Arnel Pineda's voice is a little deeper.
Sort of, yeah.
I think Pineda's voice is a little deeper. But no, he actually used to be in a Journey tribute band before he became.
Yeah, that's right.
He was actually in a Journey tribute band before he became the lead singer of Journey. What a promotion.
What a promotion from a tribute band to the actual real deal.
I know, right? And
it's crazy.
Yeah, but you know what? Steve Perry's still putting out music, and it actually is not bad.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he can really hit those notes like he did in those Journey days.
Now, they said he was on an interview, and believe me, we have a lot more to talk about tonight, but he had an interview with a guy named Eddie Trunk back in 2018, and Steve Perry actually said how his voice has changed nowadays. Steve Perry's voice itself has changed.
Yeah, he has.
It's a shame. I mean, but he's also 70-something years old, so.
Okay, I need to ask you a very, very serious question.
What's up, Bill?
Do you think Don't Stop Believin' is overplayed? We're getting controversial here, folks.
I'm going to say yes and no. I think for some people, yes, but for some people, no. I think it's a very divisive statement there.
No, because here's the thing. I kind of agree with you because here's the thing. If you ask people to name a Journey song, 99.9% of people are going to say, Don't Stop Believin'.
Yep.
Okay, what if you ask people, okay, name a Journey song besides Don't Stop Believin'?
They're going to say Faithfully.
Okay, name another Journey song besides Don't Stop Believin' and Faithfully.
Any way you want it?
Okay, name another Journey song besides Don't Stop Believin', Faithfully, and Any Way You Want It.
Open Arms?
Name another Journey song besides Don't Stop Believin', Faithfully, Open Arms, and Any Way You Want It.
I forget what it's called. La Di Da. What do you want me to say? Stone in Love?
Okay, touche.
Yes.
No, but I think those are the big four. Don't Stop Believin', Faithfully, Any Way You Want It, and Open Arms. I think those are the big four.
Yeah, and Separate Ways is pretty good too, just saying.
Oh, you know what? When I saw them, I don't know if it was the same thing when you saw them. They opened with Separate Ways.
Yeah, I remember that.
I actually
they
think
did
that's
that
a
with
good song to open with. I don't know what you think, but I think that's a good song to open with.
I agree.
Do. Here we stand, worlds apart, hearts broken into two. You know what? You know what's a Journey song that I actually think is very underrated?
Which one?
It's called Be Good to Yourself.
I knew you were going to say that. That's such a great song.
I think it's very underrated in my opinion.
It was a huge hit, but I mean, I agree with you. When people think of Journey, they don't really think of that one. So I agree.
Be good, because folks, be good to yourself, because no one else will. You look. But yeah, I really like Stone in Love too. That's a good one.
Yeah. There's so many Journey hits. We can go on about them all night.
We can go on and on and on and on. Like, have you ever seen this before we move on? Have you ever seen this? There was a couple of years ago, Jimmy Fallon, he has this joke about a heckler singing a song that he wrote, and this one it turned out being Don't Stop Believing, and that heckler was Will Ferrell, and Jimmy Fallon's up there singing, goes as like some guy, as just some random guy, and then he goes, just a small town girl, and then Will Ferrell, where does she live? Living in a lonely world. Did she stay there or is she traveling? She took the midnight train going anywhere. Oh, so just a small town girl. Just a city boy. Oh, boy, people, where's he from? Born and raised in South Detroit. I haven't been there, heard it sights. He took the midnight train going anywhere. And then he's like, okay, so on the same train at the same time. Gotcha. A singer in a smoky room. What does the room smell like? I smell of wine and cheap perfume. Don't think smell bad. And there's like, when he gets excited over the street lights. Yes, people. What are the people's life goals? Living just to find emotion. And then he goes like, strangers. Wait, the strangers are back. Waited. You know what I miss? The street lights. Street lights. Yes, people. No, street lights. Living just to find emotion. Go. Who gives a crap? Go back to street lights. Yeah, but anyway, at the end of the song, it goes, after this, Peter quit music forever and ended up selling his song to Journey, which ended up becoming a major hit. Now, yeah, he did that with Don't Stop Believing. He did that with Pina Colada song, and he did that with Keeping the Faith. No, not Keeping the Faith. No, River of Dreams.
Nice. Okay.
Because as you probably know, Jimmy Fallon and Billy Joel are like really good friends. So,
oh yeah, they're huge friends.
So that's where we start our 80s with the most iconic band. And have you noticed like Don't Stop Believing always is on like the number one song of like I love the 80s?
Oh yeah, 100%, easily.
The official song of the 80s. Okay, well, that's the show for tonight. Thank you for coming. We'll see you next week. No, we have so much more to talk about, don't we?
We have a lot. I literally texted Bill a list of artists that we have to talk about.
It's such a big list because we left out a few things last week, and we apologize. Okay, so what do we talk about next, good buddy?
Well, let's jump over to the next. I don't know. Do you want to just jump around? Like, do you want to just jump around? Jump around the decade, or do you want to go in order?
Well, what did you have in mind for jumping around?
Like, just in general, you want to stick with rock, or do you want to go to pop? What are you thinking?
Let's stick with rock for now. Then we'll go to pop. What do you think?
Let's talk about one of the biggest bands of all time that came out of the 80s.
Okay, what is it? Oh, yes.
Yes. Here we go, baby.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Once upon a time, not so long ago.
It's a damn shame he can't sing anymore.
Yeah, because didn't you say he came on stage with when you saw Paul McCartney at MetLife, and you said his voice was to sing Happy Birthday to Paul, and his voice was like totally shot.
The dude, John Bon Jovi, cannot sing anymore, and because I think he's having surgery to try and fix it too. It's crazy.
I wonder if he has what is it called, vocal nodules?
Maybe. I honestly don't know, but we're talking about one of the most handsome men that came out of New Jersey.
No, we love the great state of New Jersey. We love you. We love you, New Jersey.
Yes, God bless you guys in the Meadowlands.
God bless the great state of New Jersey.
Yes, we love you guys. You guys are great.
I will be there Sunday afternoon in East Rutherford. So God bless you guys.
Yes. Go Giants. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going to the game Sunday. So
I'm jealous. That's what I'm upset now. Damn it.
Oh God, now I put JT in a bad mood. But anyway, Bon Jovi. Yeah, what can we say about them?
I mean, what more can you say than they're one of the biggest bands of all
I know
time?
what we could say. Whoa, we're halfway there.
Yes, Bill. We could say that we're living on a prayer. Would you say that you know what I heard, that You Give Love a Bad Name, buddy? Oh yeah.
That's actually my favorite Bon Jovi song. You Give Love a Bad Name.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's actually my favorite Bon Jovi song. You Give Love a Bad Name.
Interesting. Okay.
See, the things you learn. No, I love Living on a Prayer, but I really like You Give Love a Bad Name.
Bad medicine. I'll be there for you. These 5 words, I swear to you.
These 5 words, I swear to you. And JT, I'm a cowboy. On a steel horse I ride.
I ride.
Because I'm wanted, dead or alive. My favorite line in that song, because I walk these streets with a 6-string on my back. I play for keeps because I might not make it back.
I've been everywhere.
And I'm standing in time.
I've seen a million faces.
And I rock them all because I'm a cowboy.
Oh.
I'm a steel horse I ride. I'm a wanted, dead or alive. And I ride.
So good.
Yeah, so that was all from Slippery When Wet.
One of the biggest albums of the decade, mind you.
I think that was the album that really just put them on the map.
Oh, yeah. And then their follow-up, New Jersey, was just as big, if not bigger.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, what can you say? John Bon Jovi, philanthropist. John Bon Jovi to help out his New Jersey community. What more can you say?
You want to know something? A friend of mine saw Bon Jovi in concert. And he had he puts his hand down to do the whistle thing. And then John Bon Jovi literally says to him, "Son, you better put those hands back up." And he puts them back up and goes, "Thank you." And my friend is like, "Holy shit, John Bon Jovi just talked to me."
Yeah, I almost met him once. That's the thing. I was so close to meeting him in New Jersey.
Why didn't you come to meet him?
Well, because I went to his restaurant in New Jersey. For those who don't know, John Bon Jovi does a lot of philanthropy work in his state of New Jersey. He's trying to open up restaurants that feed homeless people. He does a lot of really good work. He's down there in like Red Bank and Tom's River. There's other restaurants too, but he's really great. But I mean, other than that, he's just a solid guy overall. But I went to his restaurant in 2020. He's a really nice guy. I mean, some people say he's a total ass, but I don't believe that for a second. How could an asshole be like doing really good work for their state? You know what I mean? So, but yeah,
because I remember like years ago he was on a thing with Charlie Rose when they were showing celebrity houses and they were showing his house and they show the home feed. He goes, "Do you make your kids watch your movies?" And he jokingly goes, "Only when they're bad." And
that's good.
And he says, "You know what? You're not like all the other rock stars. You know, there have been no scandals, no drugs. You've been married to the same person for 25 years. You know, you've been married to the same person for 25 years." And he goes, "I'm so clean. I could have run for political office." He said, "I could have run for political office."
He could have been governor of New Jersey for all we know, you know?
John, if you still decide to run, okay, we don't like to get political here, but we here at the Super Review Show, if you run, we fully endorse you. We fully endorse John Bon Jovi for governor. Get the banner ready. We endorse John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi, if you're listening to this, you can reach us at 1-800-GOT-BILL.
Got
We will gladly sponsor you if your candidacy for governor of New Jersey.
We will endorse you. I have a big ass banner ready to go.
Oh my God.
Come on, JT. You don't want to put that banner to waste. It cost a lot of money.
It did.
But anyway. Yeah, but Living on a Prayer is absolutely awesome.
Oh yeah.
What else?
I mean, he's done other work too. Like even into the 90s and 2000s, he's done a lot of really good songs too. Like
whoa, doom, 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 doom. That's 2000. Sorry.
Oh yeah, It's My Life. How can I forget that? That's my alarm this morning.
Yeah, he's still going strong, but like you said, he's got to have surgery for his vocal cords or something.
Something like that, because his vocals are shot now. Apparently, on his most recent tour this year, he was like, he literally couldn't sing. It was terrible.
I wonder if he's just getting up there, or maybe he has like nodules or something.
He is 60. I mean, he was able to sing on his most recent 2 records, but still, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a
maybe he has
mixed bag.
It's shameless plug for our own show.
Yes, but I mean, but what can you say? John Bon Jovi. I mean, Bon Jovi is a band. They're they're one of the biggest bands in the world. They still function well. They started out as a hair metal band, but evolved over time, which is what kept them going so strong. Which I'm all for, truthfully.
Like like yeah, and you know what? I want to say something to our lovely viewers tonight, if that's okay.
Sure, Bill, go ahead.
Chat board, tell us your favorite 80s artist and or favorite 80s song.
Yes, please do. Please do.
We're very curious to know. We'll read them at the end.
Yeah, I have the chat board going. So if you have any of your favorite songs or artists, just jump in the chat board. We'll talk about it at the very end. So just
not sure how long we don't judge. We don't judge here. So if we do judge you, we'll judge you silently.
Silent Night by Bon Jovi. What? Just kidding. That's a deep cut. That's a good song.
And you know what? Okay, his voice might be shot. And I just want to say, in a totally non-sexual way, he still looks good for his. He looks good for his age. Can we all agree on that?
He's 60 and he looks like he's 30. It's crazy.
He must take really good care of himself.
He does. He married his high school sweetheart. He's living the life. What can you say?
And like I said, no scandals, no drug problems. He's been married to the same person like forever. He's got 4 kids.
He does New Jersey stuff locally. He's still local. He washes dishes at his restaurants. Did you know that?
Yeah, he really cares about his community.
Yeah, I've been to. I it's funny. Before we go to our next artist, I was at the restaurant and he was there the day before.
Oh, nice,
so close. I was like,
so far. But
so exactly.
Yeah, he's so clean. He could remember John Bon Jovi. If you decide to run for governor, we endorse you. I have the banner ready.
The Super Review Show fully backs John Bon Jovi as the governor of New Jersey.
We all make political endorsements here, but we are willing to make an exception for this, aren't we?
Abso-freaking.
You are the only person, John, who we will endorse.
Literally,
anyone else who wants our endorsement, you can all those suck wind.
Oh, yeah. So, but yeah.
But other than that, we don't do endorsements on this podcast.
Exactly. But Bon Jovi, what a great band. I mean, what else can you say, bud?
Great. He also owns an arena football team.
Does he really? I didn't know that.
This has been Ran the Box with Bill. Ran the Box with Bill. Ow! If you can guess the song that parodies, what do they win, JT?
They win your respect, Bill.
And you win a 1-800-GOT-BILL t-shirt signed by me.
Yes, that we're not kidding when we say that. If you can actually guess
sign the shirt and send it to you. If you can guess, you win my respect and you win that shirt. Signed by me. Signed by me. Straight up.
In order to contact us, you can simply follow us on Twitter and Instagram and like us on Facebook at The Super Review Show.
And of course, call us at 1-800-GOT-BILL.
Got Bill.
Anyway, so
what is our next artist, my friend?
Okay, we talked about Journey. We talked about Bon Jovi.
Should we talk about one of the biggest, to this day, still one of the biggest bands of all time in Def Leppard?
I was actually going to say that.
They are still on top of the world. Why don't you go first? Name me some of your favorite Def Leppard songs. I saw them too, bud.
Okay, what do we say about Def Leppard songs?
What's your couple of your favorites? I mean, they're
okay. You know what? I'm probably gonna, because I'm not a huge Def Leppard fan, but here's a few that I do like. Of course, Pour Some Sugar on Me is a great one.
Yep.
I really like Rock of Ages.
Oh yeah.
Guten Gleeman now, sir. I want rock and roll. We can't hear you. Rock of Ages. Rock of Ages. I love Rock of Ages. I like Photograph.
Oh, that's a great one.
Photograph. I don't want it. Photograph.
So good. They were great live too. My God.
Yeah. You know, it's a very underrated Def Leppard song.
Which one?
It's called Two Steps Behind.
Oh, that's a great song, Bill. Oh, I love that one.
2 steps behind you.
Yes. Fully.
I actually got to see Joe Elliott sing that live. In acoustic.
Acoustic? What?
Yeah, he played it acoustically.
You didn't tell me that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw him play. Yeah, they put on a good show, Def Leppard.
They sure do. They are still rocking great. So, and
Yeah,
their drummer has one arm.
Their drummer does have one arm.
Yes, the Rick Allen has one arm.
And you know who I saw them with? I saw them with Dr. Justin Favaro.
Oh, snap.
I saw them with I saw him with the other doctor.
The other doctor.
Yeah, we have two Our show has produced two doctors.
Yes, you could thank us.
In collaboration with the program at the University of Bill. Anyway, yeah, but I really like them. Because like I said, I was never really a huge Def Leppard fan, but yeah, well, what do you think about them, JT?
I think that they're great. I'm not the biggest, and this is coming from a guy who's not a huge 80s hair metal guy. But Def Leppard is just, how could you not love Def Leppard and the work they do as a band? I mean, their most recent album was terrible, Diamond Star Halos, but they don't even need to play new they don't even need to make new music because their old music is so timeless. I mean, Hysteria, the song Hysteria is fantastic to this day. And how could you not understand that Hysteria, the album in general, the album is still like there's 6 songs on the radio stations will always play.
Really?
Animal, Rocket, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Armageddon It, Hysteria.
Ooh, I love Armageddon. We're Armageddon it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. What's the other one I can on that album? I can Rocket, Pour Some Sugar on Me, Armageddon It, Hysteria. Not Excitable. What's the last one? A Rocket? I forget. But there's like 5 or 6 songs on that album that radio stations will always play to this day and beyond.
Beyond.
Yeah.
So it says right here, they'll still be rocking in 2035.
Yeah, the article we have pulled up says we'll still be rocking in 2035. They have no plans to retire. They're going to play as long as they possibly can.
Because I know, well, good on them, but you know, Joe Elliott's getting up there in age. I know what's his face, Vivian Campbell. Vivian Campbell has had some health issues.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Like I heard, like when I saw him 7 years ago. When I saw him 7 years ago, I heard he had like cancer or something.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, I think he had like lymphoma or leukemia or something like that. But he was playing and he seemed fine.
Yeah.
And I love like how Joe Elliott introduced it. Goes, guess who's here from Belfast, Northern Ireland? Vivian Campbell. So yeah, they have no plans to slow down, do they?
Nope, they have no plans to give up or slow down whatsoever.
Plans. They are going on forever.
They will literally play till they drop.
And they will die before they retire. They're like the Bill Belichick of hair metal. He will, if you heard me say this on the podcast, he will die before he retires, and I can say the same thing for Def Leppard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. What's next? Since we're in hair metal, how about JT, pick up that guitar and talk to me.
Oh yeah. So this is not on my list, but we'll talk about Poison really quick.
Sorry, we went off the docket.
We literally have like a ton of other artists to get to, but we'll talk about one more. Talk about Poison.
Yeah,
Brett
Michaels.
Poison was big too. We can't forget that.
No, they were one of the big hair metal bands of the 80s.
Like glam rock, stuff like that.
They really perfected that.
Yeah. Talk Dirty to Me. Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Nothing but a good time.
Nothing but a good time.
Yeah. How can I resist? Sorry.
You know what Every Rose Has Its Thorn is about?
What?
Okay, you know the okay, little backstory here. You know the band Warrant?
Yeah.
You know that song Cherry Pie? She's my cherry pie. That song?
Yeah.
The girl who was in that band, who actually was married to the lead singer of Warrant, I heard somewhere Every Rose Has Its Thorn was actually about her.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
And she actually left the lead singer of Warrant for Bret Michaels.
Wow. That's crazy.
So, yeah, that song, from what I heard, that song's actually about her. And every cowboy, every rose has its thorn, JT. Every night has its dawn.
It does.
Every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. And every rose has its thorn. I just love that part of the song goes, it's been a while now, but I can still feel so much pain. Yeah, but anyway, Talk Dirty to Me, I think that is probably my favorite Poison song.
It's a bop. It's a bop, 100%.
Hey, Cece picked up that guitar and talk to me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's, yeah.
JT, will you pick up that guitar and talk to me?
Maybe I will, Bill. Who knows?
You know, I never seen you look so good. But anyway, no. Nothing but a good time. And here's something.
All great.
All
really good songs.
My grandmother, God rest her soul, actually was friends with Bret Michaels' aunt.
For real?
Yeah, she was actually friends with Bret Michaels' aunt. They actually worked together. And
so cool.
And her husband, who was also Bret's roadie, or manager or something like that, because my cousin was a big Poison fan. He actually got him like a signed guitar and a Poison jacket. No, not a guitar, signed picture. Sorry, picture.
That's awesome.
He got him a signed picture and a jacket.
That's awesome. Excuse me, I'm burping a little bit.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, but Bret Michaels, I've seen he seems like a pretty nice guy.
He's in really good shape too, I found out.
You know, he's also diabetic.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea, honestly.
Well, he's taking good care of himself, so.
Absolutely.
Because remember, folks, you can't get diabetes from just eating junk. It could also be genetic too. So, but
that is true. Yeah.
So he is, but he looks like he's in really good shape.
Yeah, I mean he looks fantastic. So
Poison gives us nothing but a good time.
Absolutely.
All right. Should we stay on the hair metal thing, or
let's go to heavy metal for 1 second? I could talk more about this band than you can probably, but and then we'll transition into other artists as well, come like solo or something like that in a sec. But Metallica,
and more, didn't they get really big in the 90s? So
no. So Enter Sandman was 1991, but they had 4 albums in the 80s.
Okay.
And I want to guess they've had a lot of success for like they're mainly known for their first 5 albums. I want to bring them up though for a sec because Metallica got their start. Metallica got their start in the 1980, I believe it was their first album. 1981 they were formed. By 1983 they had their first album out, and then 84, 85 was Ride the Lightning. 86 was Master of Puppets. 88 was And Justice for All, which is my favorite Metallica album. And then 1991 was Metallica's The Black Album, which was obviously what is one of the best selling albums of all. Like, it's funny, just really a side note, that album, Bill, I don't know if you knew this, that album will re-enter the Billboard 200 at random some points because it still sells so many copies. At random, it still sells so many copies today of Metallica's that one album because of Enter Sandman, because of Sad But True, the production quality on it. It's a fantastic album to start to finish. It's when Metallica went like mainstream, but who cares if they sold out? They became one of the biggest bands in the world by then. But in the 80s, though, yeah, go ahead.
Because like metalheads, like real metalheads, like these pure metalheads who could be a real pain in the ass, they hate Metallica,
right?
Like, because they go, they're not real metal. You know, the real metal's
yeah, that's not like, I don't really count that. I mean,
it sounds like you're passing a kidney stone.
It really does. But I have to say that Metallica is one of those. Oh my God, Metallica is one of those bands I would go see live in a heartbeat if they were to come around locally. I'm not sure when they would come around, but they're doing more tours. They might tour next year because they just tour. They tour. They might put out a new album soon. I'm not sure, but they're an act I would like to go see live. I've heard incredible things about them live. Heard they're really, really loud though. So, like, you thought like Def Leppard or Journey was loud. You want to talk loud? Metallica, like AC/DC loud, or maybe louder?
Really?
Like, I'll give you an example. My dad saw AC/DC. He has not seen Metallica. My dad saw AC/DC live in 2008. And he said, to give you an idea of how loud it was, the venue there at the Madison Square Garden, the show was so loud to buy a beer at the concession stand, and it was still too loud.
So it's like, okay, what can I get you, buddy? I'll take a Bud Light. What? I'll take a Bud Light. What? I'll take a Bud Light.
Literally, Metallica and AC/DC might be the loudest shows on earth. They put Kiss and Guns N' Roses and stuff to shame as far as loud goes. It's scary loud. So, but Metallica, they had 4 albums in the 80s. They are still one of the biggest bands alive. Probably the most successful heavy metal act out there. I would say, inspiring countless generations of fans and whatnot, even fans of other genres as well. I mean, their songs are incredible. But they started.
Nothing else matters.
Exactly. Exactly. But they were one of the most powerful live acts of the 80s too. Like, it's funny. I was reading up on something. They started playing arenas, like arenas like for hockey arenas and basketball arenas before MTV even heard of them in the 80s. That's how popular they were that quickly. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like, they got big so quick after their first album and second album. They were still a support act for Ozzy Osbourne in like 85 because of Master Puppets. But they
just JT, obey your master.
Yeah, literally.
Obey your master of puppets.
I have to see them live at one point. I just don't want to go deaf, you know what I mean? So I do know they are playing New York City at Central Park in about 10 days at a festival, so it's pretty interesting.
So
I cannot go. I probably won't. I'd rather see them in a bit on their own instead of at a festival. If that makes sense.
Because then you got to wait you got to go through all the other people who are playing. It's going to take forever.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, how can we forget Mariano Rivera of the New York Yankees? And the Sandman, he used that as his intimidation tactic to win a bunch of games. So.
He used it as his open song, as his walk-in song.
His walkout song, Enter Sandman by Metallica. Yep.
Yeah, when they had his Mariano Rivera Day, they actually got Metallica to come play that live.
That's awesome. Straight up.
They actually got Metallica to come play it live.
Yeah.
And he actually literally ran out when they were playing it.
Yeah. And it's funny. There's one more thing about Metallica before we go on to our next. We're going to switch over to different genres in a second. Different styles of rock and stuff and pop and stuff in the 80s in general. But Metallica, I mean, they really won their success pretty quickly. They, like I said, they are. I cannot testify for seeing them live, but I've heard they are a powerful live act on stage and whatnot. So that's always a good time, of course.
Is that? But
bottom line,
that's on your list of people to see.
Yes, if Metallica is coming anywhere locally, not at a festival, because I'd rather see them in like their own venue. I would like to see them at a venue on their personally, but that's me.
Is that one of the shows you're going to drag me to, or Bruce is the only one you're going to drag me to?
If you want to see Metallica, Bill, I will take you.
I don't know. You said they're loud, so
I don't want to go. Like, we have bring earplugs no matter what.
And plus, me with my issues.
Exactly. So I gotta.
So I don't know. That might bother me. We'll see. I'll think about it though. I need this time to contemplate and meditate on this thought.
Yeah.
So. But anyway.
But bottom line, Metallica, check them out if you've not. And they formed in 1981. They had 4 albums in the 80s. They're just incredible in general. So check them out. Let's shift gears a little bit.
We're shifting gears.
Let's shift gears to more. We can stick with rock and roll from the 80s, but we'll go to different artists.
Okay.
I don't really want to touch on. We put down, full disclosure, we put down Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel. We talked about them a lot in the 70s last week. So if you want to hear what we have to say about Bruce Springsteen and Billy Joel and Elton John too, who were big in the 80s as well, if you want to hear what we have to say about them, just go back to last week's broadcast.
Because I want to ask you really quick about with Billy Joel. GAT, if you've seen the movie Step Brothers, there's a scene when they have a 80s Billy Joel cover band.
No, I haven't seen that. No.
It's called "We Are Uptown Girl. We are the top Billy Joel 80s cover band." Goes, "Play piano, man." That was in the 70s, sir. We only do 80s Billy Joel. And then like later on, they're playing goes, "Do Something for the Stranger." Again, that was in the 70s.
Yeah, people got to get their years right on stuff, you know.
Like JT, serious question: 70s Billy Joel or 80s Billy Joel? Which one do you like better? He needs to think. What was that?
70s.
Really? I kind of think that too. 80s Billy Joel's good too.
80s Joel was great. You had him. I mean, I like a lot of his stuff. I mean, well, I don't want to talk about him too much because we talked about a lot of them last week. But Billy Joel has had success in 3 different decades, and now he's had more success today too than ever before, which is crazy.
Yeah, but like I said, if you want to hear us talk about more about him, go listen to last week.
Yeah, just go look up our segments for last week. Full disclosure, everyone. If you're listening to us on Spotify podcast, listening to us on podcasts in general, on our YouTube channel, I actually take the time out of my day to cut up our show into different segments, so you can watch individual segments of our show as well instead of just a 2-hour video. So
yeah, because who has the time to sit here and listen to us talk for 2 hours?
Literally, but that's okay. Let's shift gears. We talked about Bruce last week. We talked about Billy Joel. We talked about Elton John. Let's talk about 80s artist Tom Petty for a second. Is that okay? Can we do that?
Sure. But wait, wasn't he more 70s though?
You would think that, but he had so much success in the mid to late 80s and into the 90s too. Mary Jane's Last Dance was 1994. Free Falling was 88 or 89. So we could bring him up now. That's okay. and then we'll get to
Go
some
ahead.
other artists. All right, cool. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yes, their first album was in 1976. So yes, they first came out in the 70s. But I want to touch on them. Tom Petty, even as a solo act, he released a ton of music in the 80s. Everything from Full Moon Fever to Full Moon Fever is a great album in general. So if you haven't heard of Full Moon Fever, you've probably heard of Free Fallin', Running Down a Dream. You've heard I Won't Back Down. These are all great songs in general by Tom Petty. But and they were in the 80s Tom Petty. So Champ Board, help me out with some 80s Tom Petty albums. Like, oh, Don't Come Around Here No More. That's a great song. That was like 85, 86. So Bill, do you have any favorite Tom Petty songs?
From the 80s or just in general?
From the 80s. You could say Free Falling, you could say I Won't Back Down. You could say
wait, no, it wasn't I Won't Back Down in the 90s.
I Won't Back Down was 89. I fact checked.
Oh, that was 99.
No, 89. Yep, I checked.
Okay, I do really like I Won't Back Down.
I Won't Back Down's pretty good.
You can scare me up in the gates of hell, but I won't back down.
Yep. You got we're gonna look it up for a second. I'm forgetting some of his albums all of a sudden. But he has had so much.
Sorry, I need some ice cream.
Okay, it's okay.
I'm like a 5-year-old. I love ice cream.
Bill is eating ice cream on camera. So all right. Southern Accents had a couple songs on it. Long After Dark. I want you to check this. So Don't Come Around Here No More is a great song that he wrote in. It was in 85. It was a big hit. Don't come around here no more. You know that one?
Yes, I do know that.
The title track, Southern Accents.
No more of that one.
Yep, The Best of Everything. That's another song that's really good too. This album in general, Southern Accents, is pretty darn good. So he's Southern Accents was a good album in the 80s. And then if you want to go into the Long After Dark, it had the big hit "You Got Lucky." I don't know if you know that one. It's like
I do not know that one.
I know because it's like the dun 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 dun. It's got like the synthesizer on it. I feel like if I played it, you know that one. I feel like if I played
heard
it, "You Got Lucky" is like I forget what it was. It was a big hit for him in like the late 80s, and then the 90s he had a lot of success too. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about Tom Petty, the guy who is a pioneer of rock and roll, heartland rock, and mainly in the 80s in general? But he started in the 70s, but he had a lot of success in the late 80s as a solo artist as well. How could we forget that? Like the stuff like I Won't Back Down and Free Fallin', those are all songs from his solo effort from 1988's Full Moon Fever. And actually, funny thing, that album was produced by Jeff Lynne from Electric Light Orchestra. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Now you do. So Jeff Lynne, yeah, go ahead.
You know who did the drumming for Tom Petty in the I Won't Back Down music video?
Who did?
Ringo.
Oh, he did? No way.
Yeah, I think that was him.
Oh, get out. I had no idea. I didn't know that. So also another thing too about Tom Petty is that, I mean, this is more modern day, but he did play the halftime show back in like 2007, 8.
Yeah,
I think that right. Yeah,
in 2008 when the Giants came back and beat the Patriots. That was one of the best days of my life.
Oh, that was a good time. Oh, it was
a great time.
Patriots suck. Just saying.
No offense to our listeners who live in the great state of Massachusetts.
Or the New Englanders, or like the Patriots, or this or that. Just saying.
Yeah.
But outside that, I mean, the guy was going into the 90s too. He had a huge album with Into the Great Wide Open, which had the song "Learning to Fly" on it, which is actually a pretty good song too. But
fly.
Yep. But the guy was I never saw him live. He was coming to the area around us in 2017 on his 40th anniversary tour, and I missed it. I was gonna go, and I was on the fence about it. I said, "Nah, I'll wait till the next time." And the next time never came. I never got to see Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Because October 2017, he died.
Yeah, I was gonna see him on that tour, and then sure enough, he died. It was terrible. So,
did you buy tickets already or no?
No. I was looking to buy a ticket, but I never went. I never acted on it, which sucked because Tom Petty was one of my heroes. So he still is, but yeah. Born in Florida, raised on Heartland Rock. He was a fantastic guy. What can you say? One of the best artists of that time period too. Bill.
Yes.
Should we stick with Heartland Rock for a second? There's an artist I think that you would actually like, that you might know who I'm talking about.
Is it does he sing about Jack and about a guy named Jack and a girl named Diane?
He sure does. We're gonna talk about John Mellencamp.
Little ditty about Jack and Diane.
Yes. Two American kids growing up, the best they can. In the Heartland, yeah. And how can we forget ROCK in the USA? Pink Houses. John Mellencamp, ladies and gentlemen. Heartland Rock was starting to become the mainstream in the 80s.
ROCK in the USA. ROCK in the USA.
Rocking in the USA. Yeah. Don't sue us, anyone. But John Mellencamp. What can you say about John Mellencamp? Well, I mean, a pioneer of Heartland Rock. He's a great musician too. He's just released an album this year, and he still does great stuff. So,
yeah, he's still rocking.
Yeah.
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 And I just want to say to some people about the song Pink Houses.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, some people think about like Pink Houses like they do the same way that about Born in the USA. That it's a rah-rah patriotic song. It isn't.
It's really not.
Pink Houses is about like racism and I think housing discrimination or something like that.
Yeah, John Mellencamp is. We refuse to take political sides here.
No, but I just talk about. Okay, folks, listen. We don't get political here. When I do talk politics, it's usually in the context of what we're talking about.
Exactly. Same here.
So I'm not trying to get political. I'm just talking about the context of the song.
Absolutely.
But like here's an interesting fact. After Springsteen shot Reagan down, because he wanted to use Born in the USA for his 84 campaign, he then went to John Mellencamp and he wanted to use Pink Houses.
Yeah.
And Mellencamp said no.
Yeah, that was a tough time for everyone.
Folks, listen to the song before you want to use it for something.
Yeah, before you hear the chorus, listen to the verses as well. Just saying.
Yeah. But I like John Mellencamp. I even like some of his more modern stuff too.
I do too. Remember when we did our new albums by older artists show? That song, that album, what do you call it? Something Jackhanded or whatever it was. His most recent release was great.
Yeah, it really was.
A Box Full of Rain or A Life Full of Rain. It's got a couple songs featuring Bruce Springsteen on it. It's a really, really solid record too. I mean, John is a great artist. I mean, outside of Jack and Diane, outside of Pink Houses, he's a really solid artist. So,
little pink houses for you and me. So, you know what? I have a dumb question here.
What is it?
What is really Heartland Rock?
So in the 80s, it was popularized by Bruce Springsteen, John Mellencamp, and Tom Petty, and even Jackson Browne to an extent. Like that style of rock of like, it's got acoustic guitars. It's about like, stuff like I'll give an example, like songs like Pink Houses, songs like
Don't Come Around Here No More.
Don't Come Around Here No More. Songs like even Run On Empty from the 70s. We talked about that last week. Even songs like Heartland Rock is just like it's like country influenced rock. I mean, Bruce Springsteen's Tunnel of Love. I'll touch on that album in a second, but like, because we didn't really go off on. I'll talk about a couple of his 2 albums in the 80s. But
because if we get JT on Bruce Springsteen, we will be here all night long, all night.
We'll get to him in a sec too. But
Richie.
Good old Lionel Richie. But John, but you want to talk about Heartland Rock for a second? Let's talk about it. So Bruce Springsteen's Tunnel of Love, the song Tougher Than the Rest, is a lot of country artists cover that song. I don't know why, but people do. I just want to touch on this for a sec. So Tunnel of Love was a surprise album by everyone in the 80s. I contend, truthfully, this is one of his most underappreciated albums out there. I'm saying this on air, and I got to go off on it for a second, Bill, because the lyric writing on this album, Tunnel of Love, it was written at a time in his life where he was looking up, like, he was married to Julianne Phillips, but he loved Patty Scialfa, his current wife. He was in a rough time in his life, so he wrote songs about like relationships and stuff. A lot of people were turned off by that, but at the same time, Springsteen's Tunnel of Love is quite possibly one of the most underappreciated albums of the 80s. Rolling Stone magazine put it on their list of 500 greatest albums of all time, like number 480 something.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there might not be like a really high number, but it's in the list. And because this came off the heels of Born in the USA, like Born in the USA, oh, Dancing in the Dark, My Hometown, Glory Days, hit, right?
In the dark.
I'll talk about that in a sec too.
I really love that song.
Yeah, but like, Tunnel of Love was a surprise album. Like, it was almost like, what, he's talking about this and that, Brilliant Disguise, One Step Up, Two Steps Back. What's going on? This is a great album. If you have not heard Tunnel of Love by Bruce Springsteen, you want to know music that makes you think and can make you question your life. Like, let's say you're in a terrible relationship with a girl or a guy, Tunnel of Love might give you advice. Truthfully, I kid you not. So just want to say that out there, everyone. I've talked about that on my separate videos as well. But yeah, Tunnel of Love, great. I will talk about Born in the USA for a sec too, because it was a monster album. Born in the USA was a monster album. It still is to this day a huge album. So,
in a foreign land, I was born in the USA.
Yeah. And we're not.
Folks, you all know what that song is really about. You're all smart folk.
We've literally talked about this album so much on this.
About 6,387 times.
Literally, Bill and I have discussed this album so much, but we're not going to go into too much. We're just talking about Heartland Rock for a second, whatnot. But Bruce, this album was a huge, still, it's one of the best selling albums of all time.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. So, but we've talked about the title track, but the songs in the album too are really just solid, great songs. I mean, Cover Me, Darlington County, Working on the Highway, Downbound Train, I'm on Fire. I mean, No Surrender, Bobby Jean, I'm Going Down, Dancing in the Dark, Glory Days, and My Hometown are 12 of the best. It's one of the best albums of all time. Regardless of what you think about him, it's one of the best albums of all time. It just is. So I don't want to go into it too much because we talked a lot about that. But Bruce Springsteen,
got other things we'd like to speak about.
Yes, we got a lot of other stuff we got to cover tonight. But Born in the USA, phenomenal album. One of the best albums of all time. One of the best albums of the 80s. So, and everyone saw him on that tour too. Let's talk about
JT. You already talked dirty to me. Sorry,
Bill. Let's talk about two more artists in the 80s as far as like certain artists goes, and then we'll get into some bigger pop names in a second. So I want to talk to you guys
because we have to talk about you know who, and we'll get to you know who when we get to him.
We'll get to all these other artists in a little bit, guys. But I want to at one point and some points on our show, I've talked about this man and his band as being underrated. I don't really believe his 80s stuff is underrated. I believe his modern stuff is very underappreciated, and that's Bryan Adams. We've talked about him a lot, actually. I mean, Reckless is one of the best. It Cuts Like a Knife and Reckless. Those two albums are great. But Bryan Adams in particular, I wanted to shed some light on him. The dude was a huge Summer of '69 is still played to this day because it was so big back then. I saw Bryan Adams live in 2019. I'm lucky enough to say that I did because then COVID hit and then he's been touring Europe like crazy right now. But I would if he came back to the US, I would love to see him again. My dad has not seen Bryan Adams yet. I gotta take him. I gotta take Bill as well.
Yeah, he was supposed to tour with Bon Jovi, remember?
Yeah, and then COVID hit. He's like, thanks, COVID.
Yeah, thanks, COVID.
Yeah, but that's the part I never understood. Bryan Adams was opening up for Bon Jovi in 2020 before the shutdown happened.
That is a very unusual show, isn't it?
Why? No, but Bryan Adams, I'm going to get off my tangent. Bryan Adams why is Bryan Adams opening as the opening act for Bon Jovi? Why? Why was that even a thing? That's what I don't get, Bill. Does that make sense?
Does it confuse you?
Because I understand it's a big hit thing and whatnot, but when they said, "Oh, Bryan Adams is opening up for us," I said, "Why is Bryan Adams opening up for you? Bryan Adams is a big act." No,
he is.
I never understood that about him. I really wish more people would open up to him as an artist in general. He's just so good and reckless. I've played this album from start to finish on vinyl. Plug for Instagram a lot. I don't get why he's like, I don't know. I'm a huge Bryan Adams fan. His new stuff is incredible, and no one listens to it either. So that's another thing too. But back in the '80s, the guy was on top of the world, which is great.
You know, I got my first real 6-string.
Did you buy it at the 5 and dime?
Bought it at the 5 and dime. Played until my fingers bled. Was the summer of '69.
Yeah.
You know what's another good one? Run to You. I'm gonna run to you.
I love Run to You. It's so good, Bill.
No, it's another good one.
Which one?
What's it? Heaven.
Somebody Cuts Like a Knife, straight from the heart. The dude was on fire in the '80s. He was so good. You know what he did recently? He did 3 shows over in England, he played albums from start to finish. I don't know if you heard. Did you hear about this at all? He played a different album. He had 3 sold out nights at like some Royal Hall in England or whatever. He played 3 albums, 3 different albums on 3 different nights from start to finish. Did you hear about this?
Oh, I didn't hear about it.
He played Cuts Like a Knife in full from start to finish. He played Waking Up the Neighbors with Everything I Do It For You on it. That's 91. He played that album from start to finish. First time live for so many of the songs there too. Then he also played another album from 1987 that I'm not too big on because it was just coming off Reckless. It wasn't that big of a success. It was Into the Fire. He played that album for the first time live. And a lot of the songs on there for the first time live in general.
Really?
Yeah, you got to look this up. He broke out the vault for those 3 shows, and I wish there was audio recordings of them because it was, he played so many hit songs. He played so many songs he hadn't played since like the 80s or 90s, which is crazy. So, but Bryan Adams, phenomenal artist, phenomenal, timeless artist. What can you say, Bill?
Yeah, what can you say about him?
So, all right, we've said a lot about a lot of artists, about rock artists. Let's jump over to the pop side, shall we? Who should we start with first?
Okay, should we start with His Highness, the King, or should we wait a little bit for him?
The King of Pop? You want to save him for last?
You know what? Let's save the King for last, shall we?
You want to? Well, we did. I got an idea. Let's talk about Prince. We did talk about him. We talked about him on Black History Month.
Yes, we did.
We talked about him back in February of this year, but I figured why not talk about him again? Genius. One of the best musicians that ever walked the earth, in my opinion.
I only want to see you in the purple rain.
Purple Rain.
Didn't Bruce cover that like after he died? He played that.
The moment he died, Bruce Springsteen opened up his show with Purple Rain. Yep.
Purple Rain. That is a lighter song. That is a song of first.
Hey, let's go crazy.
Oh, I love that. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
Yep.
Oh no, let's go crazy. Let's get nuts.
Like, need we say more? Let's be real.
When doves cry.
When doves cry, yep.
When maybe I'm just too demanding. Maybe I'm just like my father. When doves cry, do 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 do.
You know, Bill, maybe we should party like it's 1999, huh?
I think we should.
Yes. Even though it was 20 something years
That's
ago.
next week. Come back next week for that.
Yeah, come back next week when we talk about that song just for a little bit.
When we talk about the 90s.
Yeah, we're gonna party like it's 1999, kids.
We're gonna party like it's 1999. It's gonna be great.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, Prince. No, I really do like Prince.
He was a phenomenal guitarist.
Is he like one of those who you wish you saw?
Actually, yeah. I didn't really know too much about him until he died, which is unfortunate. But he was. I look back, I was like, holy shit, Prince was incredible. Like, just guitar work, songs, everything about his band. Apparently, I did mention this back in February, and I want to bring it up again. Prince, Rolling Stone magazine did an article saying the top 25 or 50 acts to go see right now as of 2013. The top 50 live acts to go see live right now, and who rules the touring road right now in 2013. Guess where he was on that list?
Where?
So he was number 2. That's the second best act to go see at the moment.
Who was number 1?
Bruce Springsteen.
Which
I'm no surprise there for as far as like people, because Bruce, like Bruce's set list change every night. He'll literally play anything he wants to play, or instead he'll play anything, and his band knows everything. Prince is the same way, but as far as energy on stage goes, that's a different story. I worked at a I'm not gonna say where, but I worked somewhere where a guy was talking to me. He's like, hey, he said I thought the best show I've ever seen was Kiss, but when I saw Prince before he died, unbelievably great.
Who was this?
Someone I knew at one of my former jobs. So he was, to my understanding, Prince was a legend forever. God bless.
Yeah, he is. And we leave as he goes in the purple rain.
Yes, I mean that song in general, that whole album is like, it's a movie soundtrack too. So, but it's really great. So
it really is, and it is really.
What?
No, I really do. Like, I didn't really start getting into Prince until like after he left this earth.
Yeah, I was the same way.
And you know what? I feel like with these artists, and especially that one we're going to talk about a little later, it's really, that saying is true. You don't really know what you have
till it's gone.
And maybe we should have appreciated him more when he was alive.
I agree. I mean, that's the thing. You don't know. I mean, I hear stories all the time. Like,
excuse me for 1 second. Keep talking.
Yeah, sure. So I hear all these stories sometimes about like certain rappers that are dead now. Like they're only like 20. Like, I was not a fan of him, but Juice WRLD. I mean, he died at the age of 21. I'm 23 years old, so I've lived longer than Juice WRLD did too. And these guys die so quickly. You have to appreciate them while you can. Truthfully, you need to. it's a damn shame when people don't appreciate art when they're around, and then they go and then they die. So when
Besides
Prince, he was
Prince,
trying.
you know who it also was for me, and it was a more modern artist, and you guys just talked about it on career retrospectives.
Who?
Chester Bennington.
Oh, yep, for Linkin Park. Yeah, I mean that's another one.
Yeah, it's like, listen, a lot of the appreciate music now when you got it, folks. Like,
Yeah,
you never know what you have till it's gone.
There's not too many of these artists left. So if you can go see, I mean, regardless of what you think of them, go see Bruce Springsteen live. Go see Billy Joel. Elton John's retiring. Go see him while you can.
Go see.
You name it. The Rolling Stones.
I told you this when I went to go see Paul McCartney, because when I got the tickets, I was supposed to go see my brother up for family weekend, and his college said, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to see you. I'm going to see Paul McCartney at the Garden. Going to see." First, he's like, "You better have a damn good reason." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to see Paul McCartney." He goes, "Where's he playing?" The Garden. Have fun. I'm like, "You're not upset?" Going, and I'm never going to forget this. And this ties everything together. He goes, "Bill, how many more opportunities are you going to get to see him?"
Absolutely.
He's getting up there in age. How many more opportunities are you going to get to see him?
Same thing with the Who. Same thing with the Stones and stuff like that. I mean, there's so many artists out there. You have to appreciate them while they're here. I mean, Prince left us way too soon.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, Kiss. I just saw Kiss back in May, and they were incredible. Yes. At the same time, it's like I wanted to see them before they're done, because they're on their farewell tour. I mean, I do believe that's their farewell tour and stuff. But like, also another thing too, I'm seeing. That's my thing is I want to see artists that are older, like from a certain time period. Like, full disclosure, everyone, I have tickets to go see Smokey Robinson this fall on my birthday, on Saturday, October 15th.
The day after our 100th episode.
Yes, that'll be our 100th mixed bag coming up. So tune in for that as well on that Friday night, because we're gonna have a star-filled panel as well. But like I said, I'm seeing Smokey Robinson. You're probably saying, well, why would you want to go see him? He's gonna die soon.
Well, no, I'm sure he's doing fine right now. He's still touring, so I'm sure he's in good health.
He's 82 and he's still touring. Yes.
So he must be in good health. Or like when we saw the Temptations and the Beach Boys, Otis Williams is 80 years old.
Mike Love is 81 years old. Brian Wilson just retired at the age of 80. So there you go. I saw him twice.
So see these artists when you can, because and don't just say, "Oh, I'll put it off till next time," because they might not be around next time.
Look, that happened with me with Tom. We just talked about Tom Petty. I didn't see Tom Petty. I didn't see Van Halen. I never saw Meatloaf. I wanted to see those three artists, and I never saw them because they were dead.
They have passed on. They are no more. They have ceased to be. They have expired and gone to meet their maker. They're a step, breath of light. They rest in peace. If they weren't something, they'd be pushing up the daisies. They kicked the bucket. They got off the twig. They run down the curtain and joined the choir invisible. These are ex-people.
Thank you, Bill. This is why I have you on.
Thank you.
But look, so bottom line, yes, literally. But we're not wrong. See these artists. If you, I Ringo Starr's coming to the area. I'm on the fence about seeing him. I'm like, but because I haven't seen him yet, I'd love to see him. So
I've seen him.
Damn you! I really want to see him though.
Yeah,
maybe I'll take you. Who knows? It's on a Friday night.
When?
The 23rd of September. It's next Friday.
Okay, so what's our next story?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that off air. But yeah.
Okay. So what's that next? So what's the next topic?
The next artist we're gonna pick tonight.
How about
let's talk about.
Since we're talking about pop artists, so
for the most part, yeah.
How about okay? We have to talk about her. It's the 80s. We have to talk about her.
Whitney Houston.
Well, no, I was thinking someone else, but we can talk about Whitney Houston.
We'll talk about Whitney really quick.
Yeah,
Whitney.
You're not a big Whitney Houston fan.
I am not. I have nothing against her and her music. I just don't. I'm not a fan. I'm not. I respect the hell out of her. I think that her music was incredible for what it was.
And listen, she had a hell of a voice.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Like she had a hell of a voice.
Yeah,
She had a really big set of pipes on her.
sure did.
Like she was basically the Aretha Franklin of the 80s.
Yeah, she was incredible. I mean, like there's no denying it though. She was a legend as well. I just, as far as her pop music goes, I was just not a fan. And that sounds like a sin for some people, but I just, yes, lay it on me.
So,
JT,
you don't want to dance with somebody?
No, Bill, I do want to dance with somebody who loves me. So who knows? But Whitney Houston, what can you? I mean, you talk about just pop music in general. She was the defining person of that decade.
She really was.
She could sing a ballad. She could sing She could sing ballads. She could sing pop songs. She could sing just about anything. Really, she had the voice to do everything. So,
yeah, and how will I know if she really loves me? If he really like, there's actually a biopic of her coming out. Like I think in December.
I heard it's called "I Want to Dance with Somebody" or whatever.
It's called "I Want to Dance with Somebody."
I mean, hey, who's playing her? Jennifer Hudson?
I think so. I don't know.
I'm not sure who's playing her. I mean, I might not go see it, but I know tons of people who might want
to
go see it because it's might get out of the house,
Yeah, but
I mean, Whitney Houston. What can you say? True pop artist,
and of course, the song that makes grown men cry.
And I will always love you. Yep.
Yeah.
She didn't even write that song.
What was that?
You know who wrote that?
Dolly Parton.
Correct. Yep. There you go.
And you know who actually wanted to do, the song, but Dolly Parton said no?
Who?
Elvis.
Really?
Yeah,
I could see that.
Dolly Parton turned down Elvis.
That takes guts because he had a voice too. So,
nah, but you know what? To think if Elvis did do that song, I think Whitney Houston's version would have blown it out of the water. No offense to the king of rock and roll, but
no, I agree with that. I can see that totally. So, but yeah, Whitney Houston, one of the queens of pop music, one of the best of who's ever sung in general. Who still to this day, she might be dead still, but her songs will live on forever on adult contemporary, on pop, you name it. So,
yeah. So, okay. What's the other female one I was thinking about? Okay. We kind of have to talk about her.
Are we talking about, who?
Her. Yes, we're talking about Madonna.
We're talking about Madonna. Okay, talk to me, Bill. What do you got?
We kind of have to. I don't want to, but we have to.
Yeah, I mean, she's.
And I think she's just weird. She's just a weird person.
Yeah.
No, you go around after you marry a Brit talking a British accent. You're not British, Madonna. Stop acting like you're British because you're not. That aside, damn it, it's not the 90s anymore. I can't make any Madonna jokes. Anyway, there are some songs I like by her.
Okay.
Holiday is a guilty pleasure. Holiday.
I love Holiday. That's one of my pops.
So nice.
Holiday.
Everybody really spread the word. JT, spread the word.
Yes, spread the word.
Vacation. If we took a holiday. Anyway,
like a prayer, get into the groove.
Get into the groove. That is a really good song. We'll talk about Like a Prayer in a second, but Get in the Groove. That is just a fun dance song.
Yeah.
And of course, Like a Virgin. Hey, touch for the very first time.
Yes. When she rolled around at the MTV Music Awards that night, everyone thought she was ending her career, but it turns out she became the biggest movie star in the world, the biggest music star in the world.
She was the biggest music star in the world. And but the song Like a Prayer, there was actually big controversy behind that music video.
No, what was it?
Because there was a scene when in the music video when she's in a church.
Okay.
And she's dancing she's in a skimpy outfit and she started making out with a saint statue.
Oh, all right.
So as you can tell, the Catholic Church didn't take too kindly to that.
It would have.
Yeah, they didn't. The church didn't really take kindly.
I don't think they would have at all.
So listen,
yeah, it's funny how like yeah.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say I would say like I feel like people today nowadays want to dress like Billie Eilish. Yeah. At the same time, every girl back in 1985 wanted to dress like Madonna.
Just like Madonna.
Yeah, I feel like everyone back then was like, Madonna's the best thing ever. So.
Yeah. She actually got into a feud with Elton. She's got into a few feuds with Elton John.
I've heard about this. Yes.
One was she goes, I didn't know lip syncing counted as singing. Ooh. And I think one of the things is because Madonna made some comments about Lady Gaga,
who is Elton John's son's
godmother. So Elton John basically hit back. Yeah. So, but yeah, Madonna. She's one of those artists I could really take. I could take her or leave her, in all honesty. I don't despise her.
But of course.
But I'm not like, oh my God, if I don't listen to Madonna, I'm going to die. Like, I don't absolutely love her, but I don't despise her, though, either. She's one of those I could take her or leave her.
Yeah, absolutely. She's
like, I do like a prayer. There is actually, in 2010, when Haiti got hit with that terrible earthquake.
Yeah.
They actually Madonna came and they did like a more stripped down version of that song with a gospel choir and everything. It was awesome. To be honest, I actually prefer that version to the original.
Really?
I actually like that version better than the original. Like I kid you not. I actually, the day after the Hope for Haiti thing, I literally downloaded that song on my iPod.
Oh wow!
Look, it was from the album because every donation, every purchase, donations would go right to the relief effort in Haiti.
Yeah, exactly.
So I also did my good deed too. So
good for you, Bill.
Do your good deeds. Anyway, but JT, like I said, Madonna, I could take her or leave her. What do you think?
I'm the same way. I mean, I'm not like outside of her hits, I'm not really like a big Madonna guy. So sorry, everyone. I'm having like a hard time here processing everything.
But it'll be so nice. It'll be so nice. Everybody spread the word. Do 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 do. But yeah. So yeah, Madonna. We could take her or leave her. Speaking of female pop artists, you know what? This is a random one. You know what I just thought of?
What?
What are your thoughts on Cyndi Lauper?
Well, Bill, girls do just want to have fun.
Girls just want to have fun.
They sure do. And she's now more famous for the psoriasis commercials too.
You haven't seen a lot of them.
Yeah, she was enormous too. I mean, girls just want to have fun.
Time after time.
Time after time. There's a couple other ones there, but she really only had like a couple hits.
Yeah, she really did. Was True Colors in the 70s or 80s?
80s.
Yep, that's a nice song. You know what? I'm kind of drawing a blank on her.
She only had like the couple of hit songs. That was it.
Yeah, she was no Madonna.
No, but she's more known nowadays as the psoriasis commercial girl, which that's not a slur to her whatsoever. Because Cyndi Lauper back in the day was still huge. So,
oh, she was.
I mean, some people are like, well, Madonna versus Cyndi Lauper. Madonna was the queen. So,
oh, absolutely. That's not even a question.
Yeah.
Okay, JT, is it that time?
We have one more before we get to the king.
Okay, what do we have to get to?
We have to talk about this, Bill.
Oh boy, we got to talk about something. What are we going to talk about, my friend? Okay, we can talk a little George Michael.
Careless Whisper, though, is a bop.
I never want to dance again.
Guilty feeling got no rhythm.
You know what I think about when I hear that?
What?
Deadpool. Wham!
Yes, it got a resurgence because of Deadpool. It's so great.
Deadpool. And also, you know, I don't know if I ever told you this story. When my brother did a promposal to the girl he went to prom with, he actually had someone. It was on either a trumpet or a saxophone when he asked her to play the.
That's dope.
That is awesome.
That's flat. I gotta remember that. That's actually genius.
Yeah, but "Careless Whisper" is a great song.
I mean, Wham in general. I mean, with George Michael and we'll mesh them together, but George Michael and Wham.
And JT, you know. Do the jitterbug. Do the jitterbug.
Wake me up before you go.
Don't leave me hanging on a black stone. Before you go. Take me dancing tonight.
That song is such a guilty. It's so gay, but it's so great, though. You have to admit, though, it is a really like. I'm sorry, Bill. I'm sorry, I had to say that. It's such a great song, though. Wait before you go.
Oh, it is a great song.
It just gets you in the mood. You're like, all right, let's go. Here we go. So great.
It's just such a fun song.
It's such a fun song. I love that song. I'm getting a bop now. I'm starting to dance in my head here. I'm like, yeah, let's go, man.
Jitterbug. One day, you and I should just randomly just go out and dance to that song. We should just randomly just go out, play this song, and wake me up before you go.
We'll have to go for a little cruise and we'll just a little drive. And we'll just do that. That'd be great.
And you know who we're bringing with us?
Who?
You know, we have to bring him.
Doctor Justin Favaro.
Okay, yes. Okay, we got to bring Dr. Justin Favaro and Dr.
Matt Hemsley.
We got to bring Matt Hemsley. We have to bring Matt Hemsley to this.
Yes.
You're coming with us, Hemsley. Dr. Hemsley, you are coming with us.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not, you're coming with us.
Oh my God.
Yeah, before you go. We should just like literally drive around and just blast that song.
With a speaker, not in the car, but in the backseat. Yeah.
We do the jitterbug.
It's so funny. It's such a great song, I have to admit.
Yeah. Okay, was Faith the 80s or 90s?
Faith was the 80s, like 88, I think. Yeah. Because you gotta have faith.
That's actually my favorite George Michael song.
really good. Good one too.
Baby, I know you're asking me to say please, please, please don't go away before this river becomes an ocean, before you throw my heart back on the floor. And then,
Yeah.
But then 10 years later, that song got ruined by Limp Bizkit.
Oh, rip.
Oh, guess what, Limp Bizkit? We're doing a top 10 worst covers list just so we can bash you for that. Just so I can bash you for that. Congratulations, Limp Bizkit.
Oof.
Oh, bet we can't wait for that list. You're gonna get a tongue wagging from me.
Yeah, from Bill.
Wag my finger at you and tell you how terrible you are.
Oh yeah.
And I bet you all can't wait to watch that. But anyway,
I can't wait to do that after our 100th. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll see when we do it.
Yeah, but George Michael
is absolutely great.
Jitterbug. It's so great.
Yeah, too bad he's gone.
Yeah, another one who left us way too soon.
Yeah, and he died on Christmas. AIDS? What was that?
Did he have AIDS or no?
I don't know what he had.
I forgot. But that we talked about this during our Christmas special.
Yeah, he died on Christmas, so it was technically his
last Christmas.
Not that we're laughing that he's dead, but it's kind of cool.
No, but that headline was priceless. It's like George Michael last Christmas. It's so funny. It's not funny that he died, but just the headline, it was funny.
It's just kind of ironic.
Yeah,
because the moment I found out he died, I was at home for Christmas with my family. Guess what song was playing on the radio?
Last Christmas. That's actually scary. Scary, crazy.
It's like they predicted it. But yeah, George Michael.
Because you gotta have faith. Sorry. And now I have George Michael like Wake Me Before You Go stuck in my head now.
Hey, it's not a bad song to have stuck in your head.
It just makes me smile like a jitterbug.
It's a good song. But like I said, you, me, Favaro, and Hensley, we're driving around. Yes. We're going to just randomly go out in the car and start dancing to that song and see how people react. Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging on a block of stone. Wake me up.
I have a better idea, Bill. Why don't we just go to karaoke night?
We can do that. Wake me up before you go. Okay, how intoxicated am I going to have to be to do that?
I'll do it for you. It'll be so funny. Wake me up. Yeah, it'll be so funny.
Because you don't drink, you'll be totally sober. I'll be told. I'd probably have to do that. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. To do karaoke, I'd probably have to have a few drinks in me. So.
Oh God.
Because after that, anything goes. And then the next day, I won't remember it. I'm like, hey, JT, do you remember what happened last night after I had that fifth drink? Do you remember what happened last night, JT? Because I don't. You were dancing
on the table to a Careless Whisper.
Oh, well, pretty cool. Do you have a video of that?
No, it exploded on Facebook after someone else got it for you.
Oh yeah, thanks.
I'm just kidding, but George Michael, what can you say? So,
what can we say about George Michael's? Well, okay, my friend, is it that time?
Michael.
Well, my friends, the time has come to raise the roof and have some fun. We have to talk about him. We talked about him last week as a child. Now we talk about him as a man.
As an adult. As Barry Gordy said in his eulogy, you tell me if you agree or disagree with this statement, JT. Go ahead.
As Barry Gordy said in his eulogy at his memorial service, the King of Pop was not a big enough title for him. The correct title would be the greatest entertainer that ever lived.
Yep.
Okay, like if you of pop music icons, he is up there with. He did, Michael Jackson did for the 80s what Elvis did for the 50s, what the Beatles did for the 60s. Now, listen, regardless how you feel about him, with the questionable decisions he made. With the questionable decisions that he made later on. This guy was a freaking icon. This guy was a freaking icon. He really was.
Absolutely.
You know, because he was one of the few, because, you know, we talked about him last week when he was a kid with the Jackson 5. He is one of those few child stars who have continued success when they're adults.
Yeah, it's true.
Like he was one of the few to have success after his childhood. But
yep,
not just like some success. He had. Do we have to talk about it? Thriller, the greatest album of all time. Oh, well, not the greatest, but you know.
The biggest, most successful selling album of all time. And it sold over 70 million copies.
Which it has, of course. Okay, there were music videos before Thriller, but Thriller absolutely put a stamp on it.
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy that MTV needed.
Like, have you ever seen that music video?
I have, yes.
It's like a mini film once you think about it.
Absolutely.
It's close to midnight. Something evil's lurking in the dark. 'Cause this is Thriller.
Yeah.
Like that perfected the music video.
And that taught the rest of the industry is, hey, if you got to make it, you got to be on MTV.
And also later what happened, you know, Thriller, of course, my favorite song from Thriller is actually Beat It, with the guitar solo by the late great Eddie Van Halen. May he rest in peace.
R.I.P. to Eddie EVH, man.
Yeah. No one wants to be defeated. Show them how stunning. Yeah. But you know what? There's one song we'll talk about in a second because that ties into something else.
Yeah.
There is, you know, he did a duet with Paul McCartney on that one. The Girl Is Mine.
I love that song.
The Girl Is Mine. Very underrated. And I've said this before. What's also a very underrated song off that album is the song Human Nature.
Oh, of course.
I think that song is extremely underrated.
I agree. 100%.
Yeah, it really is. But no, Thriller was the album that really just catapulted him into stardom. And no, but you know what was the exact moment that really catapulted him?
What's that?
1983. He and this actually is an interesting story. Him and his brothers were asked to do a Jackson 5, the Jacksons reunion. Again, listen to, I talked about last week why they changed from the Jackson 5 to the Jacksons, but here's the short version. When the Jackson 5 left Motown to go to CBS Records, Motown still owned the rights to the Jackson 5 name, so they just went with the Jacksons. But anyway, they wanted to do a Jackson 5 reunion for the 25th anniversary of Motown for their special. And at first, Michael Jackson didn't want to go on because he said, I've been doing enough TV nowadays. Because Berry Gordy literally had to beg Michael Jackson to go on.
Yeah.
He said, come on, Michael, people want to see you and your brothers. And if you heard what I talked about last week growing up, Michael didn't really have the best childhood. And I got to address something in a little bit. But anyway, and he goes, oh, I'll just sit in the audience. And he goes, no, come on, Michael, the crowd wants to see you and your brothers. I said, okay, I'll perform my brothers, but you got to give me, but I have one condition. And Berry Gordy says, what? I want a solo spot. And, he did his Jackson 5 reunion with the brothers. And then when the brothers left the stage, he had his spot, got his hat, and then doom, 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 doom. Told my lady, dance till 3. And then the moment that shook music history, when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk.
Yep.
That was literally the moment that
changed the world.
That literally changed music history.
It really did.
It literally did. But yeah, and I think that was the moment that really launched Michael Jackson into stardom. That really cemented everything. And, of course, the 80s, his other great album, Bad. Hey, JT, who's bad?
I love that song.
I'm bad. You know, I know about the world again. Who's bad?
Yeah.
But two of my favorite Michael Jackson song, one of them being my favorite Michael Jackson song, one of them being, of course, okay, Man in the Mirror, great song.
Oh, yeah.
Because, that song really asks us to look at ourselves. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Yep.
And I really like the way you make me feel. I like that one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That one's a great one.
But, my favorite song off that album, Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Annie, okay? You've been hit by a smooth criminal. Yeah, guess what, Alien Ant-Farm? That top 10 worst covers list, I'm going to rant about you, too. Watch it, guys. God. I ain't fooling around here. What? Wait, guys. I can't wait to bash you and Limp Bizkit to Kingdom Come. Maybe not Alien Ant-Farm. I don't know. I'll see what kind of mood I'm in. Yeah, I'm not going to give away any more spoilers when we do the top 10 worst covers episode. But no, have you ever seen the music video to Smooth Criminal?
I actually have not seen the music video.
Oh, it's great. It's great. Like Michael just walks into this bar. It's dead silent and ow! Like, yeah, what else can we say about Michael Jackson? Like, what literally can we say about him?
The king of pop.
The king of pop, or as Berry Gordy said, the greatest entertainer that ever lived. Like, this guy, like, okay, this was in the 90s, but in 1993,
yeah,
he actually did the Super Bowl halftime show.
That's correct. Yep.
That actually broke the record of the most watched of the biggest TV audience at the time. You know what record that broke?
Which one?
That broke the record of when the Beatles were on Ed Sullivan.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, when Michael Jackson's Super Bowl halftime performance broke the audience record of when the Beatles played on Ed Sullivan.
That's crazy.
So that is so, like, an album after album after album. And, like, listen, again, say what you want about the questionable decisions he made. But
yeah,
listen, a lot of people have had things to say about him that weren't so great. And, like, listen, he You know what? Like, this brings up an interesting thing, JT. Do you think maybe sometimes, because of the questionable decisions Michael Jackson had done, do you think sometimes you got to separate the art from the artist, or?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you can't just associate with him with like being what he did,
Yeah, and you know what? He was acquitted by a jury of his peers. So, but again, I know some of the stuff that has come out after his death, but you know what? Like I said, you got to separate the art from the artist. And like, listen, I'm not condoning what he did. Do not take it that way. I am not condoning what Michael Jackson did. If he did what he did, then yes, that was wrong.
Yeah.
That was totally wrong if he did that. But we can't have the purity test for every music artist that we listen to. We really can't. Like, know how many of my songs on my iPhone I'd have to delete because the people who did those songs were terrible people? I'd have to delete a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like, how many of my vinyls I would probably have to throw out because not every one of the musical artists I listened to were Boy Scouts. A lot.
Exactly. It's true.
Listen, again, like, you can still like his music, but that doesn't necessarily mean you condone what he did. Like, you could still call that out and say that was wrong.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean you have to. But that doesn't mean you have to say his, because as a friend of mine once said, great singer, great dancer, but a screwed up person. But I wouldn't really say those are his words. But what I'm trying to say is here, we shouldn't give a purity test to every musical artist, because then we wouldn't be able to listen to any music.
Exactly. That's just the truth.
Yeah. But no, there was a time, like I said, Michael Jackson was the biggest star on the face of the planet. He really was.
Yeah.
And like I said, what the 50s had Elvis, the 60s had the Beatles. I'm going to be honest, I don't think the 70s really had like that icon, like how the 50s had Elvis, the 60s had the Beatles, the 80s had Michael Jackson. I don't think really the 70s had like that icon. You know what I mean?
There was this is a conversation for another time, but yeah.
Oh, we should have had this conversation last week.
You're right. I mean, there was. I mean, there's a few I could think of, like Marvin Gaye, but that's about it.
Okay, Marvin Gaye, I'll put him in there. But
it's like a defining figure. I mean, I would say so, but that's back in the 70s.
Yeah, but there was only a few artists. Like I said, the three biggest music artists I think on the face of the planet: Elvis Presley, the Beatles, and Michael Jackson. Yeah. Anything else to say, or
no?
Do we have anything else, or is that it?
There's two more bands I'd like to touch on, if that's okay.
Okay, that's cool.
And then we could wrap it up after that. If you have nothing else,
I think I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Unless I think of something in these next two bands, because I always do.
I know, because after these two, that's all I really got. But if you want to talk about it anymore, let me know.
Okay.
But
what do we got?
The first one is we didn't really touch on new wave bands per se.
Yeah.
Because I just for full disclosure, everyone, if you follow us on Instagram, you should. And Twitter and whatnot. I saw Tears for Fears. Back in June of this year, they were great. I'm gonna slide through these really. This is not the two I wanted to pick, but this is one just a handful that I want to pick really quick. Tears for Fears, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great band. They put out great content. They were their most recent album, The Tipping Point, we talked about on our Older Artists Makes Newer Music special. We did that as well. Tears for Fears is a great band. They are so great. They still release great music to this day. Highly recommend you check out Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Shout.
Shout.
Yep.
Let it all out.
And
these are the things I can do without. Come on.
Yep. If you've never heard of Tears for Fears outside of Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Get on it. Sowing the seeds of love, anyone? I mean, like even Head Over Heels, anyone? Or even their most recent album, The Tipping Point, anyone? This is a really great bit. They're still making great music to this day. We talked about Tears for Fears on our older new albums by older artists episode, and we talked about The Tipping Point. Get on The Tipping Point if you haven't already. It's a really solid record. It's like 45 minutes too. It's really quick. It's got like 8 songs, 10 songs, but it's really great. Tears for Fears is one band I wanted to touch on. The next one I wanted to touch on was Simple Minds, Bill.
Don't you
obviously
forget about me.
They always have Don't You Forget About Me and whatnot, and they've had Alive and Kicking. They've had all the things she said. But you want to talk about a band that is doing really well to this day still. It has a new album coming out this fall. I think later next month or the month after.
Mm-hmm.
Simple Minds is a great band. In fact, they're so under the radar nowadays. I texted a friend of mine. I said to him, you have to listen to this album immediately. He's like, who's Simple Minds? And I said, Andrew, it's Don't You Forget About Me, the same band. He's like, what? That's how out of touch people are nowadays with Simple Minds.
Yeah, you know what made that song more popular after Breakfast Club?
What after Breakfast Club?
What made that song more popular, and it took place like nearly 30 years later?
Oh, what was? Oh, yeah.
What am I gonna say? Let's hear it.
You're gonna say Pitch Perfect, the movie.
Pitch Perfect, and this is the time when I say, Anna, call me. I haven't done that in a while.
Anna Kendrick, if you're wondering how you can reach Bill Murphy, you can call us or tweet to us at SuperReviewshow and call us at 1-800-GOT-BILL.
Got Bill. Anna, call me.
If you're single, Bill is single too. He's a great guy. Just saying.
JT, be my wingman.
Anna, it's great to meet you. Bill is a big fan, and he's got a huge crush on you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks. Now,
sorry,
God, how funny would it be if she tweeted at us? But okay. Sorry.
She's gonna be like replying to our Instagram feed and whatnot. But Simple Minds, back to Don't You Forget Me and Simple Minds. Jim Kerr is a great head for this band. Simple Minds as a band in general is just really great. I mean, they outside of Don't You Forget About Me, they have a lot of other great songs too. So check them out too. But they were massive in like 85 as well, because they had the big hit with Don't You Forget About Me and Alive and Kicking and stuff like that. Jungle Land. Like there's a lot of great songs on that album. On the Once Upon a Time album. Yep, that's what it was. But those are 2 bands that I wanted to bring up because I'm really into them now because of their most recent releases. But there's 2 bands I want to touch on really quick, and we'll end on. If you got any more, Bill, now's your chance.
Okay, what else you got?
I got NXS. Do you know who NXS is?
Vaguely.
Okay, so first things first, Bill, get on it. NXS was as one of the biggest bands of the 80s. The way U2 was big, we'll mention them in a sec. The way U2 was big in the 80s and the way like Bruce Springsteen was big in the 80s, NXS was that as well. They're almost forgotten about nowadays because, Kick was a huge album for them in general. I love NXS. Don't Change, Never Tear Us Apart, What You Need. These are great songs by a band that is sort of underappreciated now by today's standards. They were huge in the 80s and early 90s and whatnot, but like Suicidal Blonde and other great songs by them. But like What Need You Tonight, New Sensation, these are really great songs by a fantastic band that it was almost forgotten about nowadays because Michael Hutchence, God rest his soul, he died in like 1999 and 98. He killed himself, unfortunately. Very sad, very, 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 very sad. He was a gift. He was a great vocalist in general. But NXS, his band was incredible. They are just an incredible band. Never Tear Us Apart is a great, fantastic song. They ruled the charts in the late 80s just as much as U2 did, just as much as any other band did. But you want to talk about new wave? NXS is a great band to listen to, guys. NXS, I cannot emphasize this enough. NXS is a great, fantastic band that gets overlooked a lot by most artists today. They're from Australia, and they were awesome, just flat out awesome. 100%.
Okay, I thought of two more bands to talk about.
Go ahead.
Okay, I know you actually just posted a meme today on Facebook saying that this band is overrated.
Oh God, here we go.
Motley Crue.
They were, but you cannot deny though how Motley Crue was big in the 80s. I am not a fan of Motley Crue. Full disclosure, I am not a fan of Motley Crue at all.
I know. I actually heard a story about one of them. I forgot who it was. Actually, shot off like a flare gun in their hotel room.
They were wild. They were a band that was out of control, very much on the wild side of stuff. They were crazy back in the 80s.
Well, they were nuts. They were like, girls.
Kickstart My Heart and Home Sweet Home. Vince. What's that?
My favorite Motley Crue song, Dr. Feelgood.
Dr. Feelgood.
I've actually always said, if I ever become a Major League Baseball pitcher, how Mariano had Enter Sandman, I want Dr. Feelgood to be my walk-in song.
You would get a lot of praise. I'll tell you that much.
He's the one that called the Feel Good. He's going to make you feel all right. He's the one that called the Feel Good.
Yeah, I am not a Motley Crue fan whatsoever. I'm not a fan of them. But I will acknowledge that they were enormous back in the day. I mean, it's funny. They were a band that really did their best to and also they really were into, like, for lack of a better word, sex, girls, you name it. The song Girls, Girls, Girls. I had this conversation today. This Girls, Girls, Girls is about strip clubs and girls, whenever they would tour and go out, wherever. They lived that life like crazy.
No.
Of course. Oh, how did you know? Of course they were, Bill.
That was sarcasm.
Of course. I know. I'm just kidding. But they were huge. I mean, they're on their stadium tour. Vince Neil, I heard, sounds terrible, though, on their tour, though. I will say that. I heard he just sounds awful, like vocally wise. I had a friend of mine, shout out to my friend Christian, who saw them on the stadium tour when they were in New York. He said that Vince Neil, his vocals were drowned out and he could barely sing anymore. I'm like, why are you still touring if you can't? He said it was almost as bad as Bon Jovi.
Yeah, and he's had his issues too.
Oh yeah, he's a different guy now too. So he's not that skinny mini guy from the 80s. He's more like I don't know. I could never get into them. I never liked them to begin with. I mean, they're like, a lot of their songs didn't have a lot of depth in them. And I'm not saying all songs need to have depth, but I'm just saying, for me personally, I am just not a big fan of their style.
With Vince Neil, there was a celebrity wife swap episode when his girlfriend when he swapped his girlfriend with Gunnar Nelson's wife. And I remember Gunner's like, because he's talking to us, who's your husband? Goes, well, my boyfriend is Vince Neil of Motley Crue. And Gunnar Nelson is like this, uptight, and he's like, my wife is with Vince Neil of Motley Crue. I'm scared. And celebrity wife swap, my guilty pleasure. But anyway, but yeah, like, I can see why you think they're overrated, though.
And also they were also part of the bands that tried to copy grunge. And when we get to that, I'm going to bring this up.
That's next week
when we talk about the 90s. A lot of hair metal acts started copying grunge bands, sound wise and stuff. Like they diverted that.
What you think about it? And we'll talk about this more next week. Grunge kind of killed hair metal.
Oh, without a doubt. Nirvana and Pearl Jam hit. Forget it. They were wiped off the map.
Like, again, folks, we will talk about that next week.
Yeah.
And you get to hear me rant about my overrated band again.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't really know if this other band is really worth talking about that I was thinking about.
Which band?
I was thinking about REO Speedwagon. Are they really worth talking about, or?
There's not much to say.
I can't fight this feeling. Take it on the run. Keep on loving you. They kind of did continue the whole power ballad thing. There we go. Good night.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I was gonna mention U2 because they were just huge in the 80s as well.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that really.
70s, though, right?
They started in 1979, but their biggest success was in the late 80s. You want to talk about them or no?
Yeah, sure. This will be when did Sunday Bloody Sunday come out?
All right, cool. 83, I believe.
Sunday Bloody Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard people say that they're overrated. I mean, I look, all art is subjective. Like, I'm not a fan of Motley Crue. I'm a big U2 fan. Some people are the complete opposite. Some people hate them. Some people love them. I don't really care. But my thing is, I acknowledge greatness when I see it. And some people are like, to me, like, U2 is a band that has always stood out to me personally as a band that wanted to do good in the world. If you know, I mean, they're from Ireland. I mean, they have a lot of history behind them. They are very highly, regardless of what you think of them, they are very highly successful. They're one of the biggest bands out there. So ever to begin with. So people can hate them all they want, but they're still one of the biggest bands in the world. But they had their biggest success though in the in the 80s with Sunday Bloody Sunday. In 83, 84 was the Unforgettable Fire album with Pride in the Name of Love on it. Then 1987 was the Joshua Tree.
With or without you.
With or without you. I still find what I'm looking for. Where the Streets Have No Name. Big songs that really filled stadiums, packed arenas. They were the biggest band in the world in 1987. Arguably one of the biggest bands in the world in 1987.
Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
It's funny. I've always wondered who was the bigger band in 1987, Def Leppard with Hysteria or U2 with the Joshua Tree.
That is a good question.
I don't know how to answer that, but I mean, like, we talked about Def Leppard before, but think about it. Def Leppard's Hysteria came out in 87. Joshua Tree came out in 87 as well. Which one was the bigger band back in 87? I feel like U2, but it's so difficult. I love to ask like a on-air personality that, like, I love to ask like Eddie Trunk that on a phone call one day. Like, I would preface by saying I'm a longtime listener of you and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of both bands, but which one was the bigger band in 1987? Was it Def Leppard with Hysteria or was it U2 with the Joshua Tree? I'm just curious. I'm not saying I hate like one over the other. I love both personally, but I will say that I do love both almost equally. Truthfully, I mean, Def Leppard. I'm a huge Def Leppard. I'm a huge U2 fan as well. So you can love both, guys. It's
you absolutely can.
Love. You can love. You don't have to like. You don't have to hate on one band and love another. You could. Music is music. You can love all of it. You could hate all of it.
It's not a divorce. It's not like you have to pick between two parents.
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm not gonna stay with mom and I'm gonna stay with dad or vice versa. It's you can pick whatever you want. But bottom line, though, U2 is one of the biggest bands alive. In fact, Bill, I think Bill and I talked about this at one point. I'm gonna go see. I got a ticket for. This is why I say follow us on our social media pages. I'm gonna be seeing Bono in Discussion. Come Friday, October 7th, down in New York City. He's releasing a book, and I got invited to. I got a ticket to by the way, there's only 800 seats in the place. It's an 800 seat place where you can actually. I'm going to be sitting listening to Bono talk about his new book that's coming out soon, and I'm going to be at an interview screening panel with him. So I might be able to meet him. I'm not sure what the deal is, but
ask him to come on the podcast.
I might ask him. I said, Bono, do you want to come on my podcast? It would be great if you could, but we'll have a YouTube special. You know, that'd be pretty cool actually if we did that. But
I would shit my pants if he was here. In all honesty,
if we had a celebrity on, that would open our doors a lot. We'd have a lot more people like listening and stuff than we already do. We have a ton of listeners out there already, but I mean, as far as like having a guest on, like Flea or someone,
that'd be
Red Hot
awesome.
Chili Peppers, I would flip out. I would ask so many questions. But it would just be awesome. So, or even the Edge or Adam Clayton. I don't know.
We want big folks on here, folks.
Shout out to anyone who knows any people out there that can get us some people on our podcast with us. I'd love to have, we'd love to have people on, just truthfully. I'd love to have Bono on. I'd love to like just the Edge on in general. So many stories to tell. And I think we'd have a great platform to do it with. So, but yeah, U2, what can you say? One of the biggest bands of the 80s. They definitely kept going in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s even. They're still one of the biggest bands alive. No doubt about it. So, but I think, is there any, I think we're good, right? I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
We talked about.
I've had fun doing this journey so far, but we cover a lot of stuff.
All we're doing is just talking about the different musics from each decade. We're just picking at the biggest artists possible. We're just talking about them.
Next week's the 90s. We're going to be talking about grunge. We're going to be talking about
Janet Jackson.
We might. We'll talk about some.
We'll talk about Green Day.
You talk about Green Day. We'll talk about
Pearl Jam, Nirvana,
hip hop. Yeah, so we'll talk about grunge. We'll talk about, of course, the big craze of the 90s, which were
boy bands.
We'll talk boy bands next week.
The dawn of Destiny's Child and Whitney Houston and Beyonce. So yeah, a lot of stuff coming out next week. So
now, tune in next week when we continue this journey into the 90s.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. We want to thank all of you for tuning in, watching, however you enjoyed this stream tonight, this podcast in general. We covered a lot of content tonight. If you have,
and your brains are probably bleeding right now, like no more.
We've gone for over an hour, over 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's crazy. But long story short, guys, what do you think? Are you a fan of any of the artists we talked about? Sound off in the comment section below. Share this podcast. Share this with everyone else, and follow us on social media simply at The Super Review Show. I want to thank Bill Murphy for doing this with me every week so far, leading up to our 100th episode. Bill, thank you so much.
It is always a pleasure, my friend, and we only have a couple more weeks to go till number 100.
It's going to be crazy.
And I just want to give you all a fair note. That week, we're actually going to be doing it on that Friday instead of that Wednesday.
Yes.
Because that Wednesday, I'm actually going to be in Vegas. So,
and we're gonna try and have a bunch of people on too, so we can all can.
I told JT, if it was a regular run of the mill show, I'd say, yeah, go get someone. I'll see you in a week or two. But this is the 100th. I gotta be here. I gotta be here for triple digits, baby.
Absolutely. We're gonna have a lot of people on that show. We're gonna have a lot of people coming in and being on our broadcast that night. And in fact, one of Bill's friends from the Sports Insanity podcast,
he said he might come.
We got a bunch of
people that he's got to let me know. Well. He said he's got to let me know. Yeah. By the way, Sports Insanity podcast. Check us out. We are on all platforms. We just actually released our newest episode today. Go listen on wherever you get your podcast, and don't forget to check out the Sports Insanity Network, and plus our football content. Check out tomorrow, Thursday Night Gridiron, which is going to be on sometime between 6:30 and 7. And don't forget to check out the Sunday Sideline Report on Sunday at 10 a.m.
Yep. And as I've always said here before, follow us simply at The Super Review Show, and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We do plenty of postings there all the time. Tune in as always. And but yeah, so for all of us here, this was a fun one tonight doing the 80s. It was really a good time overall.
And this was my favorite decade to talk about. So
by far. It was so much to discuss for the past 2 hours. So but anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, listening, however you enjoyed us. So stay tuned for next week when we talk all things in the 1990s. So stay safe and